And we have a number of special guests in the studio with us, like the most ever had. Like it's already gets pretty hot in here, and I'm already just like boiling because I've never had this many people in this room.
So much body heat in one room.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
You can speak.
It's so funny. I was just sat there like this with the back straight and her hands crossed. My family are a bit nervous.
We are.
They've never done anything like this before.
Oh yeah, go on, introduce yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So this is my family. I wonder how. We should keep a tally of how many times we're going to say my family on the show. But go on, guys.
That's the American accent, isn't it?
Literally every 3 minutes we're like, my family. Go on.
Okay, I'm Afsana. I live in Woodside, Queens, in New York City, and I'm 27 years old. This is my cousin.
I'm Nabila. I live in Connecticut. I don't like Connecticut that much, but it's nice and peaceful. I'm 23 years old.
Hi, my name is Nusrat. I'm 23 years old, and I'm from New York City.
And my sister!
And no, I thought it was you because obviously I've met you, but I was like, I don't want to just make the assumption that.
Carlos, you've met her!
I know, but I was like, you said you were bringing your cousins.
Well.
I was like, she looks literally identical to your sister.
What? I swear you met her more than once.
Yeah, exactly. No, you said you were bringing your cousins, so I was like, oh.
Carlos has met my sister and didn't recognise her.
Oh, thank you.
Anyways.
This is the camera.
So we're here to talk basically. So if you guys couldn't tell, my cousins, they are American, and we thought it would be just like a little fun segment today to talk a little bit about the difference between like Brit Asian and American Asian, like the South Asian communities in both countries, and how they're similar and how they're different and what the experiences are like.
I mean, just from the off-go, I think when you say Asian in America, don't a lot of people think East Asian?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, for sure.
I think people think, and then I think it's South Asian just kind of collated into
Brown.
or Indian.
Yeah.
Like, nobody
Yeah,
thinks anything
yeah.
else. So.
That's true, actually. Like, I feel like in this country, I could tell people I'm like Bengali, and more or less, like, they'll have an idea. They'll know what I mean. Do you feel like you guys can tell people you're Bengali and people know?
No, so if you tell someone you're Bengali, they'll be like, oh, is that in India?
No,
Yeah.
I didn't get that. I live in Connecticut. They know even less. You say I would say I'm from Bangladesh, and they'll be like, "Oh, where is that?
They'll be like, what kind of food is that?
I would be like, "It's this tiny little country next to India," and they were like, "Oh, are you Indian?"
They'll be like, so basically you're Indian. I'm like,
No.
Which is interesting though, because I think here when you say Asian, it's the opposite. Like if you say Asian, people immediately think like brown.
Yeah,
people,
South Asian. We don't like. We won't say Asian for like East Asian or Southeast Asian. Like those nationalities will say Chinese, Japanese, Korean.
Well, I think it's kind of the same thing as well. Like for most East Asian people, I think people just say Chinese.
Yeah,
like,
that's true. It's actually the reverse.
Yeah.
True.
But yeah, in terms of like lived experience, obviously you come from New York, Connecticut, so that's like East Side. But obviously,
wow, great geography.
I know. But like. The UK is such a small country, it could fit like however many times into America, so I imagine it's really different in different parts of America. But where you are, what's it like? Like, is there a sense of community, like in the same way that you're seeing here now that you're in the UK, or is it quite different?
Yeah, so back when we were staying in London with Halima, I went to visit like my cousin, and when we went to pick up like one of his kids, I just noticed there were so many like South Asian people, mostly Bengalis.
They live in Whitechapel for reference.
Yeah.
And even here, like it's just like really heavily populated with South Asian people, and that's why probably when you guys say Asian, you understand right away, oh, it's like South Asian. But for us, like me and my sister, we live in Manhattan, but even if we went to the areas that are populated with South Asians, it's not really as populated like how we've seen. I don't know if it has to do with like how big America is. I mean, I'm just even talking about New York City. Like it's such a big city with so many people, but not a lot of like not as populated as you would see in like London or like here in Manchester.
Well, even in like, so their area of like where they've got high populations of like South Asians and specifically Bengali is like Jackson Heights, right?
Yeah, and even that, there's a lot of Greeks there. There's a lot of like Hispanic people there. And
swear down.
Yeah.
It's not all just like Bengalis.
And so it's just like really like a melting pot, and that's why like we have so many friends. Most of my friends are like non-Bengali, and like so I have a lot, like growing up, like me, I had like a Hindu best friend for like 5 years, and then in college my best friend was Hindu, but like not, well, they're South Asian obviously, but I feel like, yeah, like, and then I had a lot of Hispanic friends too, and it was really like a melting pot. It still is like a melting pot. There's still like, it's getting overpopulated every day, but you don't see that many as many you would see in England.
Yeah, I don't meet any Bengali people naturally. It's always like, oh, they're from the community, you know, like, I went to a magnet school, and I don't know if that's a thing.
Go on, explain to us what that is, clever girl.
Well, you know, so are there magnet schools in New York?
Not really, sister.
Okay, so in Connecticut we have magnet schools, and basically it's like this effort to, you know, get some diversity going, because everything is so concentrated. Everyone is like, different ethnicities are very concentrated in specific areas. At least I think that's what's going on over there, because their effort was, it was like there'll be like a school in like a specific town, and then the students will be from like several towns all around. And so your bus ride to school, you'll wake up at like 6 in the morning to be at your bus stop, and your bus ride could go from 30 minutes to 2 hours just to get to school, because you're going to a magnet school. And they tried this thing where like each of the magnet schools specialized in a specific area. So I went to the Academy of Aerospace and Engineering. I was the only Bengali girl there. Even when I was in a public elementary school, I didn't know, and there was no other Bengali girls. There was like maybe one Pakistani girl or something. I don't know. I didn't really know her. But like, there's just no opportunity for me to like organically meet a Bengali person just in school.
That's not through your family.
Yeah.
So for those of you who aren't aware, there's a reason for this. So obviously South Asia was there were British colonies, so after like, well, to be honest, during the age of empire, and particularly after like decolonization, empire, because they were all British subjects, weren't they? So literally from like 1600, from like the royal, no, it wasn't the Royal Charter, it was the East India.
You tell us, Cambridge graduate.
It was
Some regiment or something.
1857. Basically, from then, all of South Asia, like all South Asians, were considered British subjects. So that's why there's a very long running like history between like Britain and South Asia, and Britain and most of the world, like literally a quarter of the world. That's why we tend to have like it tends to be basically like people from the global south, like global south countries, whatever their like colonial parent was, they tend to go to those countries. So like South Asians mostly tend to come to like Britain because they were British colony, and then there's parts of like West Africa that tend to go to France because they were like French colonies. If you go Portugal, there's bare Angolans because they were Portuguese colonies. That's what it tends to be like. And America obviously didn't have any like South Asian colonies as far as I was aware, so that is why the migration patterns of South Asians to the UK is very, very different to migration patterns of South Asians to the US. Our South Asians in this country have been here, I would say, a lot longer because they were here from the age of empire. Like the migration patterns were set up already because of like trade, whereas in America it's more of like a post-colonial, I would say, like migration pattern, a migration phenomenon. So it's very, very different, you know. And like India particularly, like South Asia, obviously Britain had like control of a quarter of the world, but they had a very special relationship with South Asia. India, so like the British Raj was considered to be like the jewel in the empire's crown. So most of the money, most of the resources, most of their their governing body was actually based in South Asia, in India, which is now like Pakistan, Bangladesh. So the presence of South Asians in British culture was present long before South Asians even came to like Britain. You know, like they were bringing back, they were making like Victorian like curries. Don't know if anyone knew that. Like they were like in the Victorian times, they were literally making like Victorian curries here in Britain. There weren't even South Asians here. Well, they were, but not like concerted populations of South Asians here back in them times. So that is why like there's a very, very different relationship, you know. And I was telling my cousin the other day, like, you know what the national dish of Britain is?
Chicken tikka masala.
Yeah, the chicken tikka masala. Like that is a dish that was made actually for British people.
And also, like, was it coronation chicken that was made for the Queen's coronation? That is like typically South Asian flavors, but like like a dish that was made for the Queen's coronation. It had like Carlos just said. So the history, the migration histories are very different. Like for that reason, it's because of literally just because of empire.
Yeah, and even in New York, like Bengalis only started settling in 1980s, 1990s. So
we were here from so the Bengalis, and also another big difference I would say, like this is going a bit off tangent, between like the Bangladeshi community particularly, is that in the UK it's like 90-something% of Bangladeshis are Sylheti. So obviously, for those of you who don't know, like Bangladesh is like split into regions, and Sylhet, which is also where we're from, is the northeast region of Bangladesh, and it's something literally like 94% I think of British Bangladeshis are Sylheti.
Wow.
Yeah, whereas in America, I don't think that's the case.
It's not the case.
They're mostly Shuddha.
Yeah, so actually what's funny is that like my family here, obviously we're all Sylheti, we're from the same family, but they grew up but our language is different. So actually my mother tongue isn't actually Bangla, it's Sylheti, right? A lot of people think it's a dialect, it's not. Sylheti is its own language, but these guys actually grew up speaking Bangla, not Sylheti.
Yeah,
because of who you're surrounded by.
That's 100% correct. Like the Bengali community, like where we were growing up, they all speak Shuddha. So my mom.
Shuddha is like Bangla.
Yeah, my mom just kind of spoke it in the home too. Like, so we grew up like speaking Shuddha a little bit.
Well, that is really interesting. Like,
how do you guys feel that like informed your Sylheti identity?
I mean, I think I'm kind of like not embarrassed, but I wish I could speak it. I see you guys speaking it perfectly, and then I see myself still like being kind of embarrassed for not knowing simple words and stuff. But I give myself a break, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's kind of weird. Like we kind of mix it. I wish it was like I can speak one or the other, but it's kind of usually mixed. So in terms of my Sylheti identity, I still consider myself very much Sylheti, but
did you guys know that you were Sylheti? Like, did you know that you were different from the other Bengalis?
I knew.
Yeah, we did know.
I'm pretty sure I speak more Sylheti though, because I don't understand Shuddha as much as I understand Sylheti. And then Ma and Baba, like they only spoke Bangla to me growing up, or Sylheti to me growing up. So, and then I was also shy, so like our family members wouldn't think that I spoke Bangla, but then I'd speak finally because I was shy most of the time, and they'd be like, "Oh, she speaks so well," and I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah. I like growing up, I didn't know that I thought all of Bangladesh was Sylheti. Like I didn't know that there were different types of like Bengali people, that there was like regional differences and like linguistic differences in Bangladesh, because that is how like culturally homogenous the Bangladeshi community is in the UK. Is all just Sylheti people.
No, there's at least in like the social environment I'm in Connecticut, like it's very clear that there's Sylheti people and there's people who are speaking Shuddha Bangla, because the Sylheti people in Connecticut will try to speak Shuddha because that's more like socially acceptable, I think, because I think Sylheti gets made fun of, but I personally find Sylheti way more comfortable, and Shuddha just feels really strict to me.
Yeah, I think I grew up really confused because my mom would mix Shuddha and Sylheti, and I just thought, it's just different words like for the same meaning. So like I would grow up mixing them both, and like I just couldn't speak either one. Like it was just a mixture. And then like once like you guys came, I was like, wow, like it's a different dialect.
Yeah,
and it feels more comfortable.
This speak is something else.
Yeah.
It feels like this is where I should be.
Yeah, that's a very interesting like contention. So again, a little bit of context for those of you who don't know. Obviously the national language of Bangladesh is Bangla. Sylheti is it's a regional language, but as I said, some people don't even respect it enough to call it a language. They'll call it a dialect. But more importantly, Sylheti people and the Sylheti language is not very well respected in Bangladesh, especially like from Dhaka. So like people from Dhaka, the capital, they like sometimes really look down on it. They have some kind of like inferiority complex over Sylhetis and the Sylheti language. It's actually quite like threatened. The written script of Sylheti is actually like very close to becoming extinct.
Wait a second. There's a written script to Sylheti? I was just told that there is no written script to Sylheti.
There is.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
They're killing it off?
Yeah, there's like small revivalist movements, but it's generally like it's not used. Like there are some small schools and like
That's wild.
Yeah, there's actually a written script.
Time to learn a new language, writing.
Yeah, I'll send you guys. There's some like Instagram pages that I follow that like revivalist movements are really good. But yeah, generally like Sylhetis are looked down upon. Like we're seen to be like not educated, like lower class, things like that. And I feel like I remember there was one incident like when I was in America, because we've been a few times, and I remember there was this one incident. It was like with a family friend of theirs, like someone from the community. We was at a dinner party, and I was like, when I talk, cause I'm not my Bangla isn't like great, so when I talk, I naturally like, especially if I'm with my auntie, like their mom, I'll just speak Sylheti because that's like my family tongue. And this family friend, they obviously like they speak Shuddha Bangla. And the dad, like the man, he was like to me, oh, you're so pretty, like you're so pretty, but when you open your mouth you just ruin it because I speak Sylheti. I was like, wow. I didn't clock it like that when I was because I was younger then. I didn't clock it like that, but I remember it and I was like,
Obviously, like I'm sure there's a lot more cultural nuances to this and it's a bit more intense, but is it kind of similar to if you met someone from down south and you spoke in your Manchester
it's very similar.
accent,
It's a very
like,
similar thing. It's a very similar thing.
And they're just like, you sound stupid.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a very similar thing. So like the language is just not well respected.
And sometimes when you're in that community, you tend to enable this type of like like behavior or like commentary because you know, my mom was there, right? And not to like, you know, obviously she worked really hard and stuff to be where she's at, but at the same time, like we don't really get to be proud of who we are because she's continually like trying to protect us from commentary like this. But really, it should have been we should have been proud of we should have been proud of where we come from, and that's something I keep telling my mom.
It's a very similar thing to like, you know, how ethnic people in this country assimilate. So like it's a thing where parents like first won't teach their first gen kids their mother tongue at all because they're like, you need to learn English, you need to learn to speak English, like that needs to be your mother tongue because they're afraid of like assimilation basically.
So Mango Masala, South Asian show. We've got Halima's family with us as well.
No,
My family.
Right.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of time left with them, so I just thought I've got this article here which is apparently things that the English do better than Americans. So to round things off, I just want to get your opinion as Americans, obviously, as to whether this is true or not. And hopefully this is gonna like ruffle a few feathers on Instagram and get us good content. So.
Yeah, come on guys, be as controversial as possible.
Right. First of all, this one, because I know that you are not going to be involved because you don't like this, tea.
Oh.
See, obviously British people are renowned for like having tea and whatnot, even if it's not traditional chai or whatever. I'm not involved. Like, not happy about that. But like, is there any tea drinkers here?
Yeah.
Right, so is it
drink
better
tea.
over there or here?
I think it's better over here. Like in America, we don't even know what a kettle is.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they microwave them.
Yeah, we boil it on the
Some
stove.
people, okay,
I
if
thought it was a prank.
no, if you actually like to drink tea and you like to go out and buy tea, then you got a kettle. But nobody just naturally has a tea kettle.
Yeah.
They might have a coffee maker.
Yeah, I didn't know what a kettle was until I came in 2015, and then we got a kettle.
I knew what a kettle was only because we had an old one when I was little, but then we didn't have one anymore because it was like, you know. But my parents, when they make tea, they just heat up the tea in a pot.
Yeah.
But to be fair, if you're making like chai,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
like, yeah, but actual.
Like if you're making like a green tea, you know.
Or even like an English breakfast.
No, the only tea we drink is our black tea, chai, you know.
Yeah. No, but I've seen like cursed TikToks where it's like literally they'll put like milk in, put it in the microwave,
That's
put
scary.
the tea bag in.
Like one
and,
pot milk,
like,
innit?
Sorry,
One pot tea. Mad.
Yeah, not a fan, but I'm glad to see that you guys are not doing that.
That you have taste.
Right. Apparently berries are better here. Do we think that?
I think fruit is better here. I think in America it's very
Processed.
You can tell it's fake.
I
It's
think
not
because
real.
the FDA regulations are not amazing, and you know it's all about making a lot of the product and selling a lot of product, and not making delicious sweet fruits.
She knows.
Oh, that's a very good answer.
Thank
We
you.
have to buy organic.
Next one, I'm gonna.
Wait, do you know what? While we're on that, do you know the price of their like fresh produce?
God.
That's really expensive.
Oh my god.
We went
So
to Tesco
expensive.
the other day, and you know, baby spinach is 90p. She was like, "This is 90p. We paid $3 for the
that's
same
cheap.
thing." Yeah,
The cheapest we get in Connecticut is maybe like $1.99, and that's not even organic.
Yeah, $3.99 for blueberries. This much.
Oh my god.
Not about that. Especially if you go somewhere like Lidl or Aldi. It's
Yeah.
like, they're so cheap.
It's so cheap and
Yeah.
it's like good.
Yeah. Right, the next one I'm going to change slightly because obviously we're not drinkers here, but there was pubs. So I feel like you don't frequent pubs so often. So let's change it. So like, you know, like how here we have like those places like Archie's and stuff that like young British
Fast
Muslims
food.
can kind of, no, but like, you know what, they can go like dessert shops and stuff where they can just go and chill sort of thing. Do you guys have that? Like, it's sort of like somewhere where
For us, because South Asians, like Muslims, we don't drink. What they tend to do is they have like late night like dessert shops, or like it's mostly like shisha lounges, like chicken shops, dessert shops. That all
We
until
have
late. That's our like chill spot.
We have a lot of hookah lounges.
I think your guys' desserts are better, but our chill spots are better.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
back
I
to
agree
your
with that.
pub question, the clubs in New York, sorry, but are so much better than I wouldn't even step foot in England. Sorry. I would not.
Yeah.
they have like so we have shisha lounges and stuff. Theirs like turns into clubs at night, but like it's mostly like that. Most
Yeah,
of them
and
are
also
like
you don't
that.
need to drink. Like,
But to be fair, we do have that. You know what? We've just never been. I've never taken you guys on like a night out or anything.
I don't think I
That's
would
why.
like it though because
Really?
like for
you know
us,
what you would like? You would like the ethnic clubs, like where they play like R&B, hip hop music. You would like those clubs.
I would like that. But I would prefer New York because in New York it's like it's just lit.
right.
Okay, guys, I tried.
What do we think about fish and chips? Do you rate it or
Have you had it yet?
Yeah, we had it like back in 2015. I
Okay.
didn't have it yet here, but delicious. 10 out of 10, I would say. Here.
is that, do you just not have it over there?
We just don't
When you
have
say
it.
fish and chips, do you just mean that battered fish?
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
deep-fried?
but it's like kind of like specific kind of chips, like chunky,
Like chippy
like
chips.
salt and vinegar.
Just
Like,
call those wedges.
no, wait,
No.
like
Different.
You know what? We'll get you some
They're
sis because this is her first time in the UK,
okay.
so she's not had them yet.
I'm a big fan of fish and chips. Oh, you kind of slate it, but
I don't really eat fish, guys. What about food though in general?
I like American food, like because there's so much diverse and so much. There's just
I like both.
I think we
I
also
like both. I think Pritu just
I haven't
is
had
not
anything yet.
like she's very picky, and you're not really a fan of like Middle Eastern food or like too much Bengali food.
Yeah, because I'm eating tokhari at home all the time.
Yeah.
I don't want to eat it outside.
Prito's like me;
we-
she's a creature of habit.
But we also do have like a lot of East Asian places and stuff. We just haven't been yet, but like we do have, like if you go into town,
I
there's loads of like.
I just like
East
having
Asian.
options. I love having large amounts of options because I have whims. I don't think I'm picky. I think I have whims because sometimes I'll be in the mood and sometimes I won't.
But I think, sorry,
Go on.
No, I keep interrupting you.
You can go
I think the quality is good in both, but like Pritu said, like if I'm craving like spicy noodles, I can literally get out of my apartment and go to any store and get the
I
spicy
like how
noodles
it's just
and
right
like
there.
yeah, like anything. Like there's a grocery store outside my apartment, Mexican food, Spanish food, like Dominican food, Bengali food, everything is there. So like I would say
What in one store?
in one store, yeah. That's where I got your Mexican candy. They also have like they literally have like Bengali sal like right next to it. Like
There's
it's
places
everything.
like that, but they're in like city centres. So like in
Yeah.
Manchester City Centre, and in London is more like that because it's like the capital, I guess.
So that's
Yeah.
partly why I don't like living in Connecticut very much because the diversity and like the food and the like extracurricular, whatever, like entertainment, everything. The diversity is just not that big, and I like how convenient things are in New York.
This is a majority of America, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
We're just in New York City.
Yeah, New York's special.
What about humour? Because I think British humour is very like specific. So
I think New Yorkers have a particular like.
I think we have like a
joke.
dumb funny. Like we're like dumb, but British is like smart funny.
Witty.
Yeah.
True.
So I think both are funny.
Yeah.
I think in in England, I can like, it's like more like silly jokes for me that I think are funnier. But like in New York, I can't really laugh at like Bengali jokes because it's just,
Who's gonna laugh with you?
yeah.
But you know, like the madness that I see on your Insta stories, is that like common amongst you all, or is that just your British side coming out, or is that like, do you know what I mean? Like, will these like go?
That's what they're like as well.
Yeah.
But with us, like back home, they don't have people really to be like that with. But like when we're here, like when they're here with us, or when we're all in like Bangladesh with our family in Bangladesh, then it's very much like my mom's side of the family are hilarious. My mom and her siblings, they're all so hilarious. Like they're always like cracking up, and even us together. Like me and Badam Bubu, like we're sharing a room at the minute. We couldn't sleep the other night because like these two were just like, they were literally dying of laughter for like 1 hour straight with my other sister. So it is very much like that, but I think that side maybe comes out more like when we're together, when we're in Bangladesh. Like maybe in New York, you guys don't have.
Yeah, if anything, I feel that way when I'm in Connecticut with Pritu.
Yeah.
But when I'm back in New York, it's just.
Because your people in it. That's what it is.
For sure. What about in general, like in pop culture, like TV, music? Do you think that it's better?
America.
Anna's been listening to a lot more. Well, she's starting to listen to a lot more.
Yeah.
Like she'll put up a selfie of herself and she'll be like, "What British song shall I put on here?"
Yeah. But overall, I think America.
Yeah.
I suppose it makes sense. Like it's a bit more, it's bigger, isn't it?
It's a more
like,
dominant culture.
Yeah.
What about the fact that you guys don't get very much leave, do you? Like you only get 2 weeks.
I hate that. Like I only get like 2 weeks worth of paid time off, and it's like clocked. Like they'll be like, oh, we need you here on this day. Like, so not. But actually, I do have friends that have unlimited paid time off, but that's also a con because you don't want to take your time off, like because of what like the company will say or whatever. So
yeah, I literally quit my job before coming here because I would not, because I already used up like so basically I had 10 paid vacation days and I already used, it hasn't for a year. I already used up like 7. So I was like, I'm not gonna be able to come here in 3 days. So I quit my job and I came here.
Was it worth it?
It was 100% worth it.
That's a life lesson, guys. If you're not happy, leave.
Yeah.
Quit.
My sister's the queen of that. One time she had like, what was your record? It was like 9 jobs in 1 year.
Yeah, I can't know.
Oh my god, do you do that too?
I just quit. If I don't like it, then I'll just
I do
quit.
that.
Yeah.
Like on the first day.
Even on the day, if I'm not enjoying work and I know I can't leave, I'll make something up. Like she's in a coma. My mom said,
do you know how many times she's killed me off?
Something like that.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I just don't like working.
I also don't like working.
It's not that I don't like working. I don't like people telling me what to do.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I can't handle it.
No idea.
I can't handle that. Oh my god.
What about you guys don't have to wear school uniform? Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
well, actually, my sister and I, we went to the same high school. We did have uniform.
Okay.
White collar shirt, black pants. She had uniform for a bit. We did have uniform.
But the thing is, when my school had a uniform, we were just so rebelling against it that they just gave up. It was so ugly. Why would they make us wear khakis and polos? Those
I think,
but also it's not branded.
It,
it's not branded uniform either.
Yeah,
so
no.
like theirs is
what you
just
want.
white shirt, black pants.
Yeah.
Whereas ours is like the school, suit, you know, school logo, school tie colors, all of those.
I think they need it though, because you guys have a lot of like intruders and like shootings and stuff.
Yeah.
So you need that like.
Good point.
For us, it's
great
like,
She cares about our safety.
And you know what? what? It was kind of like identification for us too, because it was like a 5-school campus, and ours was like at the top floor, and we had like metal detectors and everything. So that's like a lot of schools in New York City, I guess.
They have metal detectors in New York City.
Well, our campus was really bad.
Cool.
Well, I mean, I suppose there's one obvious like benefit of here. Touch wood.
Gun laws.
Like, yeah.
Why do you think that's better?
And healthcare, free healthcare.
Oh
Don't
yeah,
get me
we
started
talk
on
about this
that.
all the time.
Yeah.
I tell them if there's one good thing about the UK,
Healthcare.
it's the NHS.
And I agree.
And they are absolutely ramming it to the ground,
At the moment.
the dirty Tories. But it is, in my opinion,
It's so much better here than when I broke my ankle and at this roller rink, and the roller rink guy was like, "You want me to call an ambulance?" I was like, "No,
absolutely
$1,000.
not.
expensive."
Yeah.
And then my friends drove me around looking for an urgent care that was open, but it was past 8 p.m., so they were all closed. So then I just went to my apartment and I went to bed.
Should pretend like it didn't happen. No, I mean, even right now, like no healthcare. Like, I need to get on that health
Yeah,
insurance.
you don't have insurance.
Because when you're 26, you're off your parents, and now you're stranded and you have to pay for the medical bills or whatever on your own. But even if I were to get on health insurance, it's like based on my income, which is like median pay, $300, $400 you're looking at every
a
month.
month for health insurance.
Yeah, not
It's
that.
crazy.
Well, rounding things off then, I think, let's keep it positive. Would either of you guys, so obviously you got people from Manchester, people from America, would you ever consider moving to the other place? Or not specifically Manchester, but you know what I mean? Would you ever consider moving here, or would you ever consider moving
We
there?
literally spoke about this yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I asked that question yesterday.
Oh, so I think like if I were to like try to escape America, I would definitely come to England. Yeah. Yeah,
I
would
definitely
come.
agree with
You
I'd
that.
come
guys
to
don't have
Manchester
bugs.
specific.
This
Oh,
is
actually,
your
I don't know. I
allergy
like
season.
London.
You guys don't have bugs. That's so nice.
Well, that's one thing they're like.
Global warming, you never know. It's probably going to get mosquitoes in the next couple of years. Let's be
Yeah, that's
honest.
nothing.
Like,
That's nothing compared to water
Yeah.
bugs.
yeah.
Give me the mosquitoes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
stay inside.
I could live in New York, like I could, but I think specifically New York. Like I wouldn't live anywhere else in America. I think only just
Honestly, New York is its own country.
yeah. Like it's very like from when we went, it is very it is like diverse, and it is very metropolitan, and it is very like a fast pace.
Yeah, like I don't. If somebody calls me American, I'm like, I'm not American. I'm from New York.
Yeah, that's what people say about London here, but
And I'll confirm that because I've been to like Florida, Texas, LA, like California, and Oakland, and all those areas. They're not anything like New York City because you need a car for those areas. But whereas when you step out of your apartment in New York City, the train is literally 3 minutes.
it's
away.
like London. It's very much like London, and that kind of that sentiment as well. That where I will little place.
And it's a melting pot. So many different people around. You could mix and match with anybody. My parents have a lot of. Well, my mom has a lot of like friends from different cultures too. Like it's really nice to see.
I could live in New York. But I would just prefer here, and that for me is literally just it's the community thing, and it's the ease of life, right? Like it's like things like food and like clothes and ingredients and things like that. I would just prefer it here.
Would you move if it was guaranteed you get to become best friends with a new car in New York?
I do like a new car, but I don't think I would. I don't think
not
that would do
selling.
it for me. I don't think that would do it for
He's
me.
listening right now and
Sorry,
he's so hurt.
sorry, mate.
It's not worth it.
Sorry, mate. I just don't. America as a country just doesn't allure me that much. Like I'm very. You know how much I love to travel. I would go anywhere in the world. I just don't have that. Maybe because I've been already, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, makes sense.
I feel like that's also something like
the travel thing.
Yeah, like for us, like from when I go to Miami, like that's like a good like $500 for the tickets. But like you guys can go to like Spain for like £10. Like,
God, yeah.
and I think and you guys travel way more often than we do. Like I know some people in New York who hasn't even like left New York.
Yeah, it's quite common that people have never seen like the ocean or anything, isn't it? Like, yeah.
Because Europe is so compact. Like we will travel like 5 hours, and I don't even think is there a flight in Europe that takes 5 hours? I don't think it is.
Maybe like 4 hours to Turkey.
That's what I mean. Like 4 hours is, I think, is the longest flight to get you to the furthest point of Europe from here. Whereas they'll travel 4 hours and they'll probably still be in the same state. You know, like that is another. And like flight prices as well. Like flights here, which I mean is also kind of not a great thing. Like I don't think air travel should be that accessible. But I am taking advantage. Not gonna lie. That is another thing as well. Like we have such cheap flights.
Yeah, when you can get them. But it's a bit, but then but it's like also like trains just don't make. Well, we were gonna go on a tangent. I'm gonna stop myself before I start going into like.
Basically, what he's saying is renationalise our airways.
In our opinion.
In our opinion.
Yeah. Rounding things off. Thanks, guys, so much for coming in today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having
You're
us.
welcome, family.